seeking it's constantly branching. And the formation of the mycelial mat is a network of cells that is evolved to be able to survive catastrophic events. So when there's impact or disturbance, very different than most other organisms, mycelium thrives. And so when the mycelium is broken, it works. Oftentimes, the best way to do it is to scratch the beds of the mycelium, disturb it. And when upon that regrowth, you'll get a burst of activity in mushrooms will form. So very few other organisms on this planet can respond to catastrophia in such an elegant way. Of course, the mycelium is uniquely suited to that. And from this ability of the mycelium to respond to all these catastrophes and grow, and it gives them many advantages. Many of the mycelial cultures that we grow, they're edge runners. They like interface environments. And so when you come across a landscape that is transitioning between grassland into a forest, along that edge oftentimes is where you find the most prolific fruitings. Moreover, as you walk through the woods, you're breaking wood underneath your feet. And the mycelium leaps up in the aftermath of your footsteps to grab that nutrition. And so as you are wandering through habitats, the mycelial networks are following you. Because you're making available readily made food, and because of competition with other fungi, the first of food wins. And so these are trail followers. And most of these psilocybin mushrooms are associated with human activity. And the reason why they're so rare in the Pacific Northwest and elsewhere in North America for a long time, people went to Mexico because they heard that's the only place they grew. Well, we know that we have about 30 or 40 species growing in the United States. And once then the scientists started focusing on, well, why don't we see these in nature? It was the invention of beauty bark, landscaping bark, where they started putting landscaping bark around institutions, churches, universities, police stations. These philosophies will come up in profusion. And they more likely are endophytic fungi that are growing inside the inside of trees. And when the trees are then chopped into chips, then these fungi flourish. Now the compound of psilocybin can be more than 1% of the net weight of the mushroom. Now this is a crystal. It's a tryptamine. Now why would an organism produce up to 1% of its mass as a tryptamine? Unless it had a utilitarian purpose. I don't think it's just, just a happenstance. It's a set of molecules. Alexander Shulgin was attracted to tryptamines specifically because he was looking at novel insecticides. Because these cause activity between the neurons. And so he was looking for neurointerrupters as an insecticide. These obviously do the opposite, they're neurostimulators. So that's a really good question. Why is it that these mushrooms would have so much of this unusual crystal? Well, I think it's also, if you look at it from a pragmatic and utilitarian point of view, the psilocybin mushrooms are, from an evolutionary point of view, are more successful today because of their psilocybin content. Because people like us enjoy them and we eat them. And because we're in this room right now, and I know a whole bunch of you are tripping right now on psilocybin mushrooms, the fact that you have them in your hand, you're sportcast now. You're sportcasting everybody in this room. And so as you depart and you go back to your camps, you're now cross-sporulating everybody in your camp, every person you give a hug to, you're giving them a sport imprint, with your hug. And so these fungi have figured this out, that if they engage humans, they can help, spread themselves, and the reward for us is opening up our mind's eye. So, how are we doing, Tim? Poor Tim, I feel so.